Hi everybody, bonjour! Welcome to another video. My name's Rebecca. Today we're going to be filling a double page spread in our sketchbook, and it's a landscape. Let's go. Okay everybody, I've got my Royal Talens A5 sketchbook, red, and we're going to be using watercolours. I've done a quick pre-sketch using pencil, the Stettler graphite 0.5mm, and I think it's got a 2B lead in there, which is interesting. So I'm going to be using my really bashed up water brush, and I'm going to start adding some colour because I'll neaten it up then afterwards with a fine liner. I love doing landscapes. So I'm going in with a lemon yellow and just mixing it into the green I already had dry on the palette, and I'm going to fill in this large area of green, this large field area. I got this paintbrush, as you all know if you've been following my channel. This water brush is like one of 5 that I have been going through to try and get the perfect one, and I think then none of them out there are perfect. It's just that they help when you're, they help me. I don't have to, knock over a glass of water and have all my brushes everywhere when I'm not at my other table. And so this is for quickness for me, but the cap that you put back on damages the bristles, and so it whatever you do, it's gonna get like that. It's like putting those brush protector caps back on your normal brushes. They damage. However careful you are, they're not brushes to be kept, which is a real shame. So probably not good for the planet. Whereas I have to say, at the moment, at the time of recording, my 2 Princeton brushes, the Aqua Elites, are still going, which is really good. I think I got 1 Aqua Elite and 1 Velvet Touch, and they're both lasting a good time, so I'm pleased with that. So I tend to use quite a lot of lemon yellow because I quite like the light green effect, more summery or spring-like. And then I'm going to go in with a dark, this is it Viridian green or something? It's a weird green that's always in these palettes. This is, by the way, the Schminke Academy watercolor palette. Palettes always seem to have this weird green in there, so just mixing a mixture of different yellows and blues and different greens. But I've got 2 in the palette, the Sap and that Viridian one. So it's just a combination of all of that, just to get this dark green for the hedge, so that stands out. And again, we'll do another layer when it's dry. It's really just getting in the placement of things at the minute. You can see I put too much about Viridian and it's not natural, so I'm going to go back in with this yellow ochre just to make it a little bit more realistic green. I don't always like too much realistic colour because I prefer brighter colours. And these water brushes, they kind of give you that scrubbed effect. You're kind of scrubbing your page, which is, it's all right, but you can't have a substitute, I don't think, for regular paintbrushes. So this is just something we're doing quickly. So now, getting the yellow ochre, and I'm going to start placing in the buildings. Okay, so this kind of green was the sap green and the burnt sienna. It's more of an earthier green. And then I think just wipe the brush off a bit. And I'm going to go back to this lemon yellow and add in the sap green and carry on here. Just to make that field stand out a bit more. Then this is the horrible ultramarine blue from the palette. I can't stand ultramarine blue, but it's convenient in the palette. I mean, our sky is not ultramarine blue. It's more a cerulean. It's always clear, a clear, nice, bright blue. And I always find ultramarine is a dull, dirty, granulating colour that is not my favourite. I might use it in like water studies for the ocean and things, but I wish it wasn't in every palette. The cerulean blue is kind of, the Cotman one is alright, but again, that's more a sky blue rather than a proper cerulean in my view. And we're going to go in, when this is all on, with some Neo colours and luminance, possibly. I've only got a couple of colours at the moment, at the time of recording. And I have to say at the moment, from testing, even though I might have maybe the wrong colours to test, I prefer luminance to Holbein. Now I know the Holbein are oil-based, and I was hoping they'd be softer. But if I was doing a test between Holbein and, say, the Prismacolor Premier, the Prismacolor would win for me, because they're softer and they seem more pigmented, which is really bizarre. And so that's my opinion, based on the yellow ochre. Holbein is the only actual colour I have. I bought the white pencil as well because the artists in the YouTube community rave about it, so I thought, well, I'll get one, and as well as the yellow ochre. But the luminance pencil is more, almost, when you put it down on paper, it is more, you feel like it's slightly drier, like a pastel. So you don't need much pressure, and it works very well in these art creation sketchbooks. So you can use it on almost any paper. The Holbein doesn't work very well on this paper either, and you have to press harder. That's my analysis. So I'll be getting luminance from now on. I've been busy making greeting cards, the 8x8 variety. We send those family and friends and things. That's not for, well, if you subscribe to me on my Ko-fi tier, then you'll be getting one of those, or a smaller card. Possibly 8x8, it depends. But if you're on my maximum tier, then yes, you'll get an 8x8, as well as original artwork. The card itself is original artwork, so it could be that you'll get a card that is the original artwork, because you can always cut that and frame it. Okay, so I'm thinking that is enough for my watercolour stage. Gonna let that dry and get my pencils. So here are the 4 pencils. I purchased 3 and I had one sample, which is the red Zillion Crimson, I think, something like that. But those are the 3, as I've shown you on my channel before, of the luminance, earthy kind of tones, to try, because I know that I could use them for portraits and landscape. So that's why I got those colours. The green, the ochre, and I think it was a tan or something. It's a warm earth. So I'll probably just wait to do that and just get some luminance. just want to add some definition on the building here. And I'll get my brush just to, because it's more opaque, so it helps things to stand out more. And I love all my different greens. I can add in the lines of the field. Looking for a very light yellow. Is it, oh, not yellow, green. That's the one. It's really good fun for textures. You can really see that this is hedge. Just add some water on this yellow ochre. I do tend to add water to the neo colour, just a little, because I don't want, I tend to be like, if you don't, because it's quite soft, it really dirties the page when you close it, which for me I don't like. So if you don't like that and you don't want to add water, then buy the neo colour ones. They're about €1 cheaper, but you can't add water to them. But it means that your texture effect will be completely permanent and you won't be able to add water to soften it. So I still leave some texture, but I try to get rid of quite a bit because, as I say, the mess, it would spoil my picture. I hope this is encouraging you to get your art supplies out and not be scared and think that you're messing up or something, because there is no messing up in art. You just need a little bit of time and patience and just to relax and try not to be in competition with yourself and Instagram, to try and all the other social networks, to try and You know, it doesn't have to be a masterpiece. It just has to be as you want. And even if you don't feel it is as you want at the time, if you come back to it a day or so later, I think you'll be quite happy with it. Sometimes we're too close to the project and we have to take a step back. For years, I did not like my work. I would say for a good 20 odd years, everything I created I didn't like. And I still have phases where that happens, because not only did I want my work to look like everybody else's, which completely destroys originality and imagination, I wanted it to be perfect, to have every line straight, to have every colour exact, to have no smudges, no smears. And that, I realise, is what makes my work unique. My lines are wobbly. They're not straight. I don't use rulers or protractors or any other equipment. I don't use viewfinders. I don't use perspective gauges. I don't even do perspective very well. I just create. I get my sketchbook, I get my art supplies, my reference if I'm using it, and I just create, because that's what I enjoy doing. So I'm going to start adding some of this pencil here. And some of this green just on the field. Just makes a big difference if you can see some other texture when you look, other colours breaking through. Just adding interest. So now we're going to add the outline. And this pen was gifted to me recently, so I'm going to see if it's going to cope. Usually I use my Lamy because it has the permanent ink and everything, but this is actually thinner, so it's much more helpful to have an even thinner line than what my Lamy can do. And I'm just squiggling all around the tree to give it that kind of wibbly wobbly effect. I'm not just doing straight line, because foliage is wibbly wobbly. When you see it at a distance, it's kind of fuzzy, like a cotton wool ball. And if the line breaks, that helps. So I'm holding the pen ever so lightly. I'm not digging it on the page. I'm just literally, I hold the pen kind of up to, almost to the middle, and I gently let it touch the page, and I wiggle it as it touches. Now you might have to, like I am, just give the nib a bit of a wipe, because the Neo colour, like gouache, can really block the fine liners, which is why I end up using my fat Lamy when I'm doing gouache, because I don't know what it is with gouache, but using a pen afterwards to outline is damn near impossible. There we are. Basic building there. Oh yes, I need to outline some hedges, don't I? Just to just helps if all of them are outlined. Just wiping the pen again. And separate that hedge from the field. And one last bit of hedging. There we are. Sometimes I might squiggle with the black fine liner on the trees and stuff, but I think I'm leaving it here. You can also, with the fine liner, I just might do that. Normally the windows will be black, but I don't know if the fine liner is going to cope with that because it's on top of neo colour. Good, that just helps. Okay. And that's that, guys. I hope you've enjoyed watching, and give me a thumbs up if you found it interesting. I hope that you're still watching and you've watched to the end, and that you'll share my videos and give me a comment. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It's free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. No money is asked of you. And with that said, guys, I'm going to see you really soon. Creative wishes.